Greetings and salutations, one and all. We are back. We are back. It's Fabian Seh again, and I'm very excited to be here as usual. I'm glad you're tuning in to spend some time with me to see what's coming out of my mouth and what's in my head. So my first power couple was Noel and Kurt, and they are power couples in film and TV production. This is my theater power couple. So I'm spending time today with Marvin George and Camille Quamina. Greetings and salutations, my people.
Yeah, man. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Nice, man. We good. Good. Thanks.
Good. Because in life, we meet a bag of people. We meet a whole heap of people in the course of our life. Mm-hmm. And for different reasons, they say nobody comes to your life by accident. But there's some people that you meet and you know them. Even though you've never met them, there's a recognition on a soul level that goes beyond any formality, any words. Okay. And I'm lucky I've learned to pay attention to that in my life. And when I met both of you, I felt a soul connection. My soul knew you when I met you. And then when I got to work with you, it was reinforced. The place you come from, what you've studied, what you're committed to. And I said, these are my people. And we're being reunited in Jamaica. And I say in Jamaica because they are from Trinidad and Tobago. And you've been in Jamaica how long now?
Five years this year.
5 years. So did you come to Jamaica to go to Edna, to start teaching at Edna Manley? That's why you came to Jamaica?
This time around, yeah.
Yeah.
This time around.
Okay. So you've been to Jamaica before?
Yeah, man.
I think the first trip I made, you made too. The first trip, we were young'uns. We were 22
or 23.
22 and 23. That's 20 years ago.
Okay.
We just graduated, at least I just graduated from UE. And we came on the invitation of the...
It was School of Drama.
School of Drama invited.
But in collaboration with UE.
Okay.
When Maureen Warner Lewis was still on faculty.
Yeah.
Ah.
And
Lady Maureen.
Yeah. We were here to do the play Shango Tears of Erisha, which was directed by Roma Spencer, and at that time Roll Gibbons took over the directorship of the play. And
Okay, and I'm glad you mentioned Roll Gibbons because Roll Gibbons features very prominently in both of your lives. Talk to me about that.
I think Marvin met him first.
All right. I met Roll Gibbons in 1995.
Right.
I went to do a course in voice for stage or something like that. I don't remember now.
Right.
At the Creative Arts Center at UWI St. Augustine.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1995 would have been about 8 years into his headship of the Creative Arts Center.
Mm-hmm.
So the center is developing at that time. It already has certificates in theater and some other things, and music and visual arts and so on, and then developing degrees at the time, right? The degree wasn't on stream yet, but there was a short course in voice. I went there. Apparently, I was the only person to register. I was distraught. I took my money back and I was leaving the venue. And then Roll Gibbons stops me and he says, he gives me the money and he says, I have to give you back the money because you're the only person who registered for the course. And I take the money and I start walking away. And then he says, but you will stay and you will do the production. And that's
would you like to?
No. You will stay.
You will stay and you will do the production.
And that's it.
So for the uninformed, tell them who Roll Gibbons is. So he's really one of the fathers, parents, foundations of Caribbean theater, as we know it.
But Roll Gibbons is also a very good playwright.
Yeah.
Meaning apart from being a very good director, he's also a very good playwright. And as a colleague of Dennis Scott, I mean, even before coming to Jamaica, the Jamaica School of Drama is legendary in a lot of people's minds. Mm-hmm. One because it was a center for people who wanted to make theatre in the region, but also by merits of who constituted the faculty at the time.
Yes.
Scott would dramaturge and direct Gibbons's work, and Gibbons would dramaturge and direct Scott's work.
Yes.
So early productions of Dog would have been directed by Gibbons.
Yes.
Early productions of An Echo in the Bone might have been directed by Gibbons.
Yes.
Firstly, early productions of Shepherd would have been directed by Scott.
Yes. And at one time there were pictures of those plays and the costumes and the actors on the wall at School of Drama.
Yeah.
I remember seeing them, and those were seminal productions. They were talked about, like in terms of the costuming and Henry Mutu, the set design and the process that what went into those things. So both of you, so interestingly, when I was doing the research on you,
oh God,
your lives seem to be so much in parallel in terms of the paths you've taken, what you've studied. You were in England at the same time, worked at some of the same places. Who was following who?
I was a younger woman in 1986, doing a degree in what was then called my program wasn't even Humanities and Education. We were the Faculty of Arts and General Studies. They called it FAC. And I was doing a literature degree.
Right.
A friend of mine asked me to audition for a play. And the play was called Shango Tales of the Orisha. That's my first encounter, first real encounter with Mr. Gibbons. And that was my first real encounter with Mr. George.
Okay.
And so I think after my 3 years, and after doing a lot of plays with Mr. Gibbons at the Creative Arts Center, Marvin and I kind of fell into each other. By the time I graduated, we were a couple, and we've been a couple ever since. I mean, you had Caribbean parents. They don't get art, and they don't get art as a profession.
What are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that?
So I took a detour, and there was this program, a postgraduate diploma in international relations. And I think I'm short of that program by one course. I just decided that, listen, Mom, and
this is not my calling. This is not my calling.
Much to her dismay.
Yes.
And at that time, I was doing a lot of work with applied theatre company that was run out of Creative Arts Center, now Department for Creative Arts Center, University of West Indies. And it was called Arts in Action. Arts in Action, right. Heavy drama and theatre in education. It was run by a very powerful woman, professor called Dr. Danny Lindesay. She's a foreigner. She came from, is it Canada? I can't remember. Canada, Holland, Australia. Canada, Holland, Australia. I don't even know where Danny from. I don't even think Danny knows where she's from.
Right. And Marvin, you also did some work with Art in Action, 6 years as well, right? In 3 different positions.
No, more than six. Half of our lives.
20-some years.
Okay, then.
About half of our lives.
All right, then. And so Marvin, your first degree is in theatre arts, right?
Correct.
From St. Augustine, and then you went to University of Leeds and did theatre and development studies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now Camille was at UE before me. I didn't have the leave secondary school and move straight into university.
I didn't work. I was just
mindset straight to
right. So Camille went in 95, meaning as soon as she left secondary school A levels, she was at UE.
Right.
I only ended up at UE because as I said, I went to try to do this short course in voice,
and it never worked out.
And well, they stay. But even in staying, I didn't enroll in any programs because
you were at the bank.
I worked at the bank. Yeah.
He was a CSR at.
I worked at the bank.
So you also took your detour.
But at the time I didn't. When I left secondary school, notwithstanding the school I went to, I wasn't aware that, I could just move on to a degree,
Okay.
So I just trying to make my way in the world, and, You know, so I was working at the bank, and I was doing community theater,
Right.
which is like that's village, which is like the equivalent of JCDC,
Okay.
JCDC type work here in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
But in the festival in Trinidad, it's community based as opposed to JCDC seems more school based.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
The community involvement has dwindled over the years in Jamaica.
right. And
It happened that way too in Trinidad in a very strange way.
It's a strange way, but it's still a community arts festival. Meaning Trinidad, the best village, is still a community arts festival by merits of what it is, the very structure of it, you know.
Okay.
And I was doing that, then discovered Roll. Spent a couple years making plays from 95 until 2001. In 2000, I left the bank. And Royal tried to get me to come into a postgraduate diploma. He said to me, it was a postgraduate diploma in arts and cultural enterprise management. And he said to me, you have bank experience, you have theater making experience, so you are the ideal person to do this postgraduate degree. And I said to him, no, I'm not doing that. And I walked into the undergrad in theater.
Before that, he got a scholarship to do a program in marketing.
In management.
Management.
Yeah.
And he was so unhappy, and I was so mad. I'm like, they gave you free money to study. What's your problem?
Yeah.
What is your problem, dude?
Yeah, but it never worked out because I had I'd grown kind of despondent with the idea of working in the bank. Mm-hmm. Because I was leaving the bank every day and going into rehearsal, leaving the bank every day and going into rehearsal. And then what was happening at the time when you're 20, 21 and so on, and the theater is giving you opportunity to make work, but also to travel and experience new cultures and so on. Mm-hmm. I'd run into a kind of a headbutting moment. We had an offer to go to South Africa to do a tour to South Africa, because coming out of Shango, you know, we ended up being the first. Well, I was in the second batch. Camille is the first batch of what became known as the Festival Dance Ensemble. So we were taking traditional dances from Trinidad, folk material, and Camille would have been the first group that toured to Brazil in '98. And then in '99, because of their tour in '98, a South African company says, come to South Africa. Mm-hmm. So I go to the bank and I say, well, I'll take my leave and I'll go to South Africa. And they said to me, no. And then I thought, well, okay, then maybe this is not my thing. Because
they didn't fire him.
They didn't fire me. Yeah, they didn't fire him.
They took him back. We didn't think when he came home he would have a job.
Yeah, they took
him back.
They took me back. But I was clear as soon as I got back.
He left.
I was clear.
Yes.
At the end.
And it's so funny, that's so parallel and interestingly to Oprah Winfrey's experience. Because when she did Color Purple, she was still working for the network. Right. She had to ask permission to get time to do Sophia.
Right.
And she said that's when she had her, because she said, suppose them said no. Because she said she knew this was the role of a lifetime.
Right.
She knew that with every fiber of her being. And she said, just that possibility of them telling her no is what made her say, I need to own for and work for myself.
Yeah.
So after doing Color Purple is when she resigned and she started Harpo Studios. It's the same kind of awakening of them could have tell me no. And I would have. So Marvin, you went to England to do your MA at the University of Leeds.
Yeah.
So Camille, how did you end up in England?
Well, we were together.
We
were married. Oh, shucks. It's so long. We married now. We were married.
And you had an anniversary recently, right? Like last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
So you were married. So you went with the husband.
Yeah, I put my studies on hold. And it was very interesting because he got this opportunity and he insisted that I go. I told him I don't need to go. We could work the thing out. It was a very interesting time. I think Marvin's mother was not well at the time.
Right.
Real big shifts.
Right.
And she had this thing. She said, you know, don't separate. Don't stay together. At least that was one of the last.
Right. Nice. So talk to me about, so for both of you, what were the England years like? What was the UK experience like for both of you?
It taught us how to be artists.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it taught us we were, or we thought we were artists, but it taught us how, in the sense that in the Caribbean, yeah, you know it, Marvin, we work during the day and we do art at the side.
Yes.
There's not the confidence to branch out and to just do the thing.
Right.
And so, we would bring it with Arts in Action.
Right.
All those occasions when we had to go to England and then working there, it gave us the confidence to just decide that if this is what you want to do and you recognize that you have a talent for it and you're good at it, then that is okay. And we just decided, well, we're gonna do this 100%. We were doing it 100%, but you always had your parents telling you that it was mine. It was a faith.
Yes.
Something else would come along, or you'd just go do the thing and teach.
Right.
And I think what England it showed us how people were surviving and thriving as artists every day.
Right.
9 to 9, because you know it's really 9 to 5.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things. I don't know for you, Marvin.
Yeah. Well, England is we had a relationship with the UK that's older than arriving there to do a master's program. As members of Arts in Action in early in the 2000s had a grant from the British Council on a program that they called Link, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? And Link was premised on the idea that as an applied theatre company in the Caribbean, we could be an exemplar of how we could develop applied drama and theatre programming in the region.
Okay.
So what was happening from early 2000s is that we had all these experts coming from the UK and working with us, and then firstly we had to travel back to the UK, and incidentally it was University of Manchester, which is university for university. University of Manchester is a leader in applied drama, like a top applied drama school in the UK. So we were meeting people like Tony Jackson, James Thompson.
Yeah.
I don't have all the names now, but
a lot of very established
like,
groups.
Yeah, man, like the leading academics in applied drama were coming to us, and or us going to them. And
nice.
we were going every year or every other year or something like that. So by 2002, we had already made contact with Contact Theatre. Developed a relationship with John McGrath and they. In fact, we were invited back to the UK twice before even going to do that MA. Because of work we did when we got there for the first Contacting the World Festival in 2002. We were our carnival workshop became the ritual for the closing of the festival.
Nice.
For a number of years, right?
Nice.
So they used to bring us up. I mean, we would go for the Link project, but we'd also go because Contact Theatre said we'll bring them back.
So both of you, I think probably more so Camille, has a go-to phrase. I want you to unpack that for us. Do your work. You both say it, but I think Camille says it the most.
Yeah, man.
In conversations to students. What does that mean in the context of Caribbean cultural creative industries, actors, performers? Do your work. When you say it, what do you mean?
Maybe a lot of things. I think one colleague read it as me telling people, well, be responsible. And I'm like, that's not it. That's like 1% of the it.
Right.
That's That's
not at all, because that's a direct. That's a kind of.
It's your calling. It's what you you wake up. Okay. When I was a young woman, everything was a task. Until I found art.
Come on, say it again. Everything a task.
Until I found art. And I wasn't stupid. I was a A+ student. I just, everything felt like a weight. Everything felt like hard labor. And then you never got me. Learning lines was never a problem. Going through meetings was never a problem. Analyzing script was never a problem. Rehearsing was never a problem. Being physical was never a problem. Long hours was never a problem.
Because it was your work.
Because it was, you understand?
Yes.
She would look at me and she would be like, is this the same child I raised? Because I'm an only child and was considered very spoiled. So when theater happened, or singing happened, or dance happened, because that's what it was. It wasn't just theater. It was the things that led me to theater. Those things kind of gave me. I found discipline. You know, I found application. I found a deeper calling, and the thing that. And it became my work. And just because you're talented and you're good at it and people like you doesn't mean you treated disrespectfully. You get up in the morning and you go and you do the thing that you say you want to do, as if it were the 9 to 5.
Yes, I think that's part of why, even before I got to know both of you so well, I felt that from you. Because I've had to say to young people all the time, I said, you know, act like you work in a bank. A bank work this. So you get up and you put on your clothes and you're prepared and you study your lines and you go over your script, and the director should not be repeating corrections they gave you 2 nights ago. I said, but if you did have a bank job or another job that you respected, you would show up differently because it's your work.
So when I have never been unemployed in my life. I don't know what people mean when they say they're unemployed. When I was at that crossroads in international relations, I think it was Dr. Linda Seh, and I was so worried. I was like, what am I going to tell my mom? I don't want to do this. This is not my career anymore. And she's like, you know, if you treat it like work, she'll receive it. And
come on.
I got up in the morning and I went down to the Creative Arts Center, and anything they asked me to do, I do.
Thank you.
If they asked me to sing something, I sing it. If they asked me to dance, I dance. If they asked me to do readings, I did it. I was always involved. I was always active. I was always present in my field because I wanted to be good at it. And it's another thing too. It's like people must understand that this is my work.
It's not a hobby. It's not a pastime.
If you're lazy and you don't like perfection and you don't see the need to be diligent and apply yourself, don't do this. Go work in the bank.
Yes. Wee, Marvin, I see like you look like you concur. You concur. You agree.
Go on. Well, I left the bank.
So you got the memo. You got the memo. I said, this not working. You both came to Jamaica as lecturers at Edna Manley School of Drama. So Camille, what subject did you come to teach?
I came to follow my husband. Like any good wife should. So when you came, you weren't employed to the School of Drama yet? If I tell you what my wonderful principal said. My principal said she's so happy she got 2 for 1. I want to give a big shout out and love to Dr. Nicolene DeGrasse Johnson.
2 for 1. So Marvin, you came to teach what?
All right.
I'm just saying that's what I was doing. I love you too, Nicolene DeGrasse.
I came in January of 2015.
Right.
Camille came up like about a month later in February.
Right.
But she was not yet in faculty.
Right.
When I came, I had acting 3B.
Right.
Which is the acting course that attends to post-colonial performance.
Right.
In other words, what is Caribbean acting? Right, that's the question of the class.
Right.
I also had Caribbean culture and performance.
Right.
Which is the course that looks at which is the dramaturgy theater making directing side.
Right.
Of acting 3B. In other words, given these traditions, what is the dramaturgy or the theater we might make?
Right.
Right.
And
that's what, yeah.
Okay. And then Camille, when you came now, you started teaching what?
They put me in the 101 class, I would call it, the
right.
Acting 1A and Acting 1B.
Right.
And then because I guess of my experience with my MPhil, it was practice-based.
Right.
Asked to consider independent study.
Right.
That's what it is, it's a solo performance and it's
right.
right? And because of my background in culture and art, which is very much a makeup. I was asked to do acting 3B and acting 3A and acting 3B. One is ensemble, and the next one exposes you to style, including post-colonial drama.
Right.
And of course, I have a good English degree from the University of the West Indies, so I was also asked to do dramatic literature and textual studies. And because I was in arts and action, or both in arts and action for a very long time, I've also qualified to teach applied theatre.
All right, look at that. I thought you could just come with your husband. So fast forward now, 4 or 5 years later. So Marvin, you are now the head of the School of Drama, the dean. And Camille, are you still teaching the same courses, or you've taken on new things?
Yeah, those courses that I listed kind of for over the 5 years.
Right.
Initially, it was that independent study and dramatic literature and acting and acting 3, but eventually it was the other courses like CCP2, devising. Right. I moved into those.
Right.
You're gonna ask me about working with my husband, aren't you?
Yeah, shortly. So Marvin, so tell me now, what has been the biggest adjustment from being a senior lecturer to being the dean, to running the school? What's been the biggest adjustment?
It is the it is a shift from being the teaching artist to arts administrator. Yes. Right?
It's 2 different worlds.
It's slightly 2 different worlds. We found ourselves in a similar situation before. Meaning at Arts in Action. When Danny Lindsay left us in early 2000 to go to do a project in Switzerland to teach theatre in Switzerland or something like that, right? And left Arts in Action, these adults and young adults to run it ourselves. Samantha Pierre became the head.
God rest us.
Right? She passed away a few years ago. A very good actor and storyteller. Real, full powerhouse kind of, And then a couple years later, Samantha went on to run a project that Arts in Action had won the bid for in about 2004 or 5. And then I was asked to run Arts in Action. So in a kind of way, I had the rehearsal.
Right.
What it means, therefore, to move from being teaching artist to administrator. And also bearing in mind that when you're working as an artist, you do all of it at the same time. Except that in this context, it's about separating. It's about finding ways of separating it, because by merits of the what the institution is, it requires it really asks you to attend to it sometimes solely as administrator. I think that's the biggest shift, really.
Oh, okay.
I like this coming semester, I will teach. If all goes well, I should only teach 3 hours, literally one course. Whereas over the last 5 years, that same list Camille has there, except for acting 1 and dramatic literature. I had to,
yes.
As a lecturer, you do it. You just do,
Yes.
Yeah.
So Camille, what is it like teaching on the leadership of your husband? Your husband leading the ship. How has the journey been?
It's no journey. This is how it started.
Yes.
We've always been in a relationship. And relationship is about roles.
Yeah.
People get heady about power.
Yeah.
What happens if he has to make decisions, if I have to make decisions? You have to respect people's roles.
Yeah.
And we've always understood that, and you understand that in theater.
Mm-hmm.
When the director is directing, he's the director or she's the director.
Mm-hmm.
After you take direction.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always had an understanding of my role in a situation in relation to somebody else's role.
Right.
I like yes.
So I'm going to ask you so two director questions now. Favorite director that you've been directed by, that you felt you learned, and favorite director whose work you've seen.
Who've we been directed by that's our favorite?
Or that you felt you learned the most from, that it was the most, in terms of the experience.
We spend so much time around Mr. Gibbons, but there's a way in which Tony Hall
is good. Yep.
Tony Hall, right?
Well, yes, but there's Tony Hall. Tony Hall is a real maverick. I remember once he was talking with an American. I love you. The American knows who he is.
Yeah.
Out of America. He worked on Broadway and worked with all these fine American folk, and he came and he told us what we can and can't do based on the cultural understandings of North America. And Tony had to tell him, listen, we have a different relationship with all kinds of things. There was a time on stage where we were asked to chant for like 60 seconds. And he's like, that can't happen. You can't do that. That's not in a convention in theater. He said, well, you know about theater. You have a different understanding of time. Time suspends itself in the Caribbean.
School them.
We actually play going on, and I just stop, and everybody goes, And people that I've seen is really is John and Eugene for me.
Yeah.
John McGraw and Eugene Williams.
Yeah.
Okay.
John McGraw.
Yeah, and Eugene Williams. Yes.
Eugene is very classic.
Yes, he is.
And if you compare the work of classic directors, even in Britain or in America, Eugene is refined.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always call Eugene a master of theater. He's one of those people.
Yeah.
Who has refined the style and approach.
Yeah.
That's almost pristine.
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure and honor of working with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
You can put his play on any stage and it will hold.
Yeah, man. Eugene
Yes.
is that person.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
What do you miss most about Trinidad?
Doubles.
You doubles.
Doubles?
Me, Roti. We're very rowdy people. And when I say rowdy, I don't mean rowdy as in crass.
Right.
There is a way in which an overturning is an understood norm or an understood happening in Trinidad. Jamaica take things very,
Yes.
And we want to do.
Yeah. True.
And everybody understands.
Yes.
What that is, and I am a student of Rojo, so chaos has its own order.
Yes. What is the thing or the things you like the most about Jamaica, and what is the thing you like the least, or the thing that disturbs you?
Institution building.
Jamaica.
You all have some of the oldest and strongest artistic and cultural institutions in the English-speaking Caribbean. That thing that I hear people talk disparagingly about, may I say it, the pantomime. Tell them how old it is, Marvy. It's well old, and it's well established.
Right.
And it persists despite all the critique, which is healthy and important. And it's not that a thing should stop; it's that a thing should be analyzed and then new ideas or.
Amen. Yes.
You're away with institutions. There's an NDTC. That still holds their own.
JCDC, Institute of Jamaica. Yeah.
You have a wonderful way with institutions. Even the Edna Manley College of Trinidad of the Caribbean, Visual and Performing Arts, and the strength of that institution. I don't think Jamaicans understand how many of its Caribbean thespians have touched ground
here
and their craft at that institution. Yeah. And we're very Caribbean focused, Marvin and I. So we understand. It's like a Chinese whisper. Well, he was in Jamaica. He was in Jamaica. He was in Jamaica. These people came out of that space. So you'll have a wonderful way with institutions.
Okay. Marvin.
It is. I also share that sentiment about institutions and institution building. But in addition to that, which is totally outside of work now, Jamaica is the word that Camille's friend used before we came here. Jamaica is charming. What is the word? It's hypnotic in a strange way.
We should speak the truth.
Yeah.
When we came here, we heard all kinds of stories.
Yeah.
You can't get this, you wouldn't be able to get that. He's so hard and blah blah blah. And oh my God, why are you going to Jamaica? Because there are stories we tell ourselves about our neighbors, and I'm like, why do these things? So when I came here, my parents and our people were worried because why are we going into the wild?
The wild west.
Yeah, and then here our people say so too. You know, we have our makers on the global stage, and they say, we're so glad we came out from under. I'm like, what are they talking about? There's life everywhere.
And there's violence everywhere.
Yeah.
And when we came to Jamaica, I think Marvin talks about charmed, and I say seduced because it's such a beautiful space with beautiful people. And there's beauty here, and there's life here, and there's energy here, and there's vibrance here, and there's spirit here. Yeah? It's a wonderful, wonderful space. And one woman who was here told me, when you go, you will never come back. And she said, don't tell nobody. They go. So I have this joke when I go home and people say, how Jamaica going? I say, go, don't come and know. Yeah. Don't come. Because my one friend did tell me, don't tell them nothing.
Charming, really charming. And I talking people, but I talk about down to the weather.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some days, boy, we have a joke, we'd get up sometimes and say, well, I'm in sunny Jamaica.
Yeah.
No, that's not an exaggeration. It's for real. It's really sunny Jamaica. It's like there's a way, there's just a vibe.
And you're not very Jamaican. I mean, Trinis are very Trini, I don't get me wrong. But it's kind of Trini.
Yeah.
The things that I think my grandmother and grandfather and they were tied to, you're still tied to. Y'all have a thing about that thing. What's the thing that I was over? The thing where you all wear your colors and it's not no.
The gala.
Grand gala.
The grand gala. Yeah, the Nigerian friend who thought that the government bust people in. I said, no, sir. Them take their own transport to come here.
Listen, that man was certain the government spend money. Like meaning
political. People are car around. You have any tickets? The free ticket they've done quick, and people say, you have tickets, you must be connected. You know so and so and so. So sometimes you see some of our friends on Facebook say, I do not have any Grand Gala tickets. I don't have access to any. I don't have any for myself. So don't. It's a thing.
It's more than a thing. It's beautiful.
And you probably also experience like when we're running our Olympics and the TV, the screen is halfway through and traffic stops. NDTC last year stopped the concert. They paused the NDTC season for us to watch the race, and then the show continued.
Yeah.
I like that.
I was there
because they said it don't make sense. They're distracted. People take it because they know people will be taking out their phones. So they said, let us just pause the show. Everybody watch the race together. Then the show continues.
Okay, then.
It's a fiery kind of patriotism.
It's wonderful. Trini says different though. We will lose and have a holiday.
Yeah.
Just because we run.
The Trinidad impulse is like, yeah, it's different. That's part of the thing that we just talk about, the kind of topsy-turvy kind of waywardness, a kind of chaos.
Right.
It's
like, what we celebrating for though? That bronze important.
I tell when we just came here in 2015, I tell this story all the time because I find it so funny. In 2015, Camille was home here and she said, boy, Marvin, I'm not feeling well. But it was Olympics or World. I can't remember Olympics or World, right?
What was going
on? Either 15 or 16. So we here in the apartment and Camille said, boy, I'm feeling so well. So I gone down by York, that's in Half-Country there, to get some drugs for Camille. I buy the thing and then realize two things going to happen. The women 4x1 and I think the men's 4x1, right? So I do so and stand up in the middle of Halfway Tree because York right there across you, the big street right there. And I call Camille, Camille, I can't leave right now, no, because for the women 4x1 it can happen.
Black up.
All right. And Camille telling me on the phone, yeah, I understand, but she's not feeling well, and she telling me, yeah, I understand, no problem. Because she watching the TV too. And boy, the traffic stopped and the woman run the 4x1. And Jamaica come first and Trinidad come either second or third. So I whining in Halfway Tree twice, right? Everybody else whining twice. And then the 4x1 men happen and the men run and boom. And the traffic stop, the traffic back up.
Yes.
By the junction because, right? And Bolt and them they kill that race. People blow horn, a woman hot cover, people break this wheeler. I jumping up in Halfway Tree, I losing my mind. And then I see the traffic start to move. And I get confused because I start to ask, where are these people going? Because in Trinidad, we just shut that country down. You cannot win the goal and go back to work. There is no work. What is the problem? So I tell it, listen, I say, something is wrong with Jamaica.
All right. And on that note, that is what is wrong with Jamaica.
That is what is wrong with Jamaica. You cannot win.
You must commit.
You can't listen.
To the moment.
Listen, there is you see, and that's the difference in the mentality. Jamaica has a sense of understanding that, and it has to do with the history of the place too. Right? Order, right? A kind of we must do this, right? So you know, right? Trinidad doesn't work in that way. Anytime Trinidad win a goal in something,
we're not going back to work.
There is nothing else.
We are not returning to our jobs.
There is nothing else to be done.
Because I tell people that one of the things that I used to love when I was on campus, and I went to Carrimac, and saw a lot of other Caribbean people, and it was that understanding of the sensibility and the rhythm. And the first time I fully understood and unpacked the expression "fete for soul."
Yeah.
Because I said, what do you mean? And they said, no man, the fete must go on.
On.
And on.
And
then one of my friends from Trinidad said, when Juve time, you have to pace yourself.
Listen.
Because it's going to be a week of whining. You can't whine out yourself. They say, we can't dance like Jamaicans. So on the first night, you pop down. And you might go from one fete to the other. You might fete up.
You see, that celebration, I've come to understand that celebration is not an either or. Meaning it's not work or celebrate.
Right.
The celebration is your conversation.
Yes.
With the whole universe.
Yes.
About what you just experienced.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And we have to do more of those things.
Yes.
Right? And it's not opposed to work.
Yes.
It's not really opposed to work.
No. And I said this, one of the beautiful things that has happened with some of our athletes, and especially Usain, is when them dance and then just broke a dance.
That's right.
On the track, because it speaks to who we are. I am taking this moment to do the gully creeper. And the rest of the world is going, what is he doing? And I have a poem to you say that say, him not dancing for them, him dancing for we.
Okay. Thank you.
We recognize it. You are a spectator in this dance.
And he is a product of a wonderful institution you all have here. Remember I told you about Jamaica's institutions? We live very close to the stadium. Champs.
Yes.
Champs.
Oh God.
Nothing like it in the world. Nothing like it in the world.
Yeah.
All right. This was awesome. Now you get to pick a game. The options are as follows. Couples quiz. Rapid fire is where I just say some words and you say whatever comes to your mind. There's a spelling quiz.
Spelling quiz.
There's a let me ask you something, which is some random questions about your life. And there's one called Mix Up and Blender. That's more risque information.
Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God.
And then there's a Jamaican trivia.
Why you can't do make me ask you something?
All right, okay.
Let me ask you something?
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Alright, so the first question is, can you recall what is your proudest moment or your proudest achievement you are proudest of?
Can we take the rapid fire?
You switch it? Rapid fire. So this is word association. Whatever comes to your mind. You ready? Money.
Power.
Teeth.
Murderer.
Foul teeth.
Black.
White.
Doodoo.
Sex.
Fun.
Sweet.
Twins.
Ibeji.
Money.
Mango.
Sweet.
Hero.
Shiro.
Roti.
Oh God, oh God, oh God. Oh God.
Yum.
Marga.
Skinny.
Sick.
Wedding.
Bells.
Calabash.
Mars.
Huh?
Far.
Mars.
Oh yeah.
Soca.
Music.
Oh God, oh God. That like roti.
Music.
Oh God, oh God,
Chocolate.
oh God, oh God, oh God.
Chocolate.
Sweet.
Diabetes.
Murder.
Oh God.
Sorrow.
Virago.
Clueless.
Virago.
I don't know what that is.
Virago.
What that?
A loud, vulgar person.
Oh, me!
Crocodile.
Dundee!
Okay, man.
Putus.
What is that?
Putus is like a term of endearment for somebody.
Yeah. Like somebody. Yeah.
Nice word. I like
Doodoo.
the sound.
Okay.
that.
Kete.
Rasta.
Alright. Bunununos.
Laughter.
Chloe.
Theater is your last word.
Life.
Everything.
Like, everything. Camille Quamina and Marvin George, what a pleasure this has been. Thank you so much for saying yes to this interview. I've been trying for a while to set this up, So thank you. What an honor it has been. And like I said, I count you as very special people. Like I said, my soul recognized you when I met you. And I thought, I know these people. I know their spirit. I know their energy. And it has been a distinct pleasure to work with you as colleagues and see you work and hear you, but also hold space and reason. The conversations have been so powerful. So I'm blessing you. I'm blessing you and affirming your highest good, and really supporting the work you're doing generally, but also the energy you've brought to Jamaica and to the School of Drama and to our culture, because you are us and we are you. So I'm sending you love and light. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fabian.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
And may you always have a forum where people could share and contribute to growth and development in the region.
Yeah.
And
Thank you. Thank you. Blessings. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm full blessed.